The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station or Clear Channel Communications.
From the fast action of the trading pit to the power brokers making the headlines, you'll hear it all on the Traders Network Show with your host, Michael Yorba.
All right.
Michael interviews the front page titans about the latest in trading tools and market trends in stocks, commodities, bonds, forex, and derivatives. The Traders Network helps you stay ahead of the curve and delivers tomorrow's trade today.
Yeah.
Now, here's your host, Michael Yorba.
Welcome back to the Traders Network. I'm Michael Yorba, your host. Thanks for joining us, broadcasting to you live from the Dallas KFXR 1190 AM Clear Channel studios, streaming around the globe from the iHeart Radio app and yorbamedia.com. All right, I'm joined today on our show with Alain Castro, Chief Executive Officer of Ener-Core, and this company is breaking ground. They are bringing new technology. It's a publicly listed energy company. ENCR is the symbol, and they provide solutions for converting industrial waste gases into power. And over the last 10 years, Mr. Castro has been working with renewable energy power sectors, and he's developed and financed well over $1 billion of renewable power generation plants. All right, Alan, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Michael. Good to be here.
All right, my pleasure. Let's back up a little bit. I want to introduce you to the audience. Tell us a little bit more about yourself and your company, and then let's get right into what Ener-Core does.
I'll start with myself. I've been in the energy industry for a quarter of a century now, 25 years. Spent about the last 12 years in oil and gas, particularly in refinery environments, and then spent the last 11 or 12 years developing and financing renewable power plants, as you said in the intro. Ener-Core is a consolidation of all of that experience I've gathered in that we are literally bringing a clean power technology to not just the oil and gas industry, but virtually any industry today that flares waste gases. We've all seen these flares as we're driving down the highways, and put aside the environmental issues of these flares and just think of it as wasted money. These are gases that, because we as a society have never figured out a way how to use them, we just disperse them in the atmosphere. But in fact, we're burning, or our industries, I should say, are burning money. And Ener-Core has developed a solution to take these gases and utilize them to generate power.
Now, there's basically three sources of air pollution. Walk us through those and how you resolve these issues.
So I'll walk through the three. We solve one of them. The first source of global air pollution is intensive agriculture. Don't have a solution for that. The other one is transportation, our cars, our buses, our trains, our airplanes. And the third one is industrial activity. And that's a very wide subset of air pollution because that goes into oil and gas, coal mines, plastics plants, steel mills, landfills. The list goes on and on. As I said, the easiest way to think about it is just any industry that is flaring gas represents industrial activity that's causing air pollution. And once again, we'd prefer not to focus on the solution to the air pollution problem, but just think of it as this is a way of making industry more economically efficient with what today they are wasting.
How are you able to solve this? I mean, you're turning waste gas, which is creating pollution around the globe, into energy. Tell me about that.
Well, we start with the fact that our societies, ever since the Industrial Revolution, everything that is generating power is based on combustion. I shouldn't say everything. There are some alternatives, but it's probably fair to say that over 97% of our power generated today is from combustion, which is as simple as igniting a gas and using the heat to generate electricity. So what we're doing is not based on combustion. It's based on oxidation. Oxidation is something that happens in nature. Any gas that goes up in the atmosphere over years and years and years reacts with oxygen and it oxidizes. That's what oxidation is. What we've done is taken something that happens in nature and sped it up so that we're doing it in 2 to 3 seconds. When we can oxidize a gas in 2 to 3 seconds rather than in years, what happens is two very convenient by side effects. One is that we neutralize these gases and we prevent their harmful effects on the environment. And the other one is oxidation reaction puts out a tremendous amount of heat. So we're able to use that heat energy and work with turbine companies to convert that heat energy into useful electricity.
What are the target industries you're going after?
It's a long list. We quantify the market opportunity for equipment here at around $75 to $100 billion. And that's because we're literally deploying a solution that will have its place within the coal mining industry, the oil and gas industry, the landfill industry, plastics, wastewater treatment, agricultural biogas. It just goes on and on and on. Like I said earlier, if you just think about everywhere where gas is currently being flared, it's being flared because it has no use. What we're introducing is a way to use these gases, and the market opportunity for that is tremendous. There's another data point that I find quite exciting, and that is that if we could, as a global society, convert all of our waste gas into power, that would generate at least 75,000 megawatts, which is enough power to literally provide electricity to the homes of 1/3 of the United States. So it's a tremendously large market, and the list of industries is quite extensive.
Is there anybody else in your field that would be a competitor, or are you standing alone in this field?
We're not standing alone. We're working with turbine companies, but there are no competitors. The only companies that are deploying equipment into the waste gas arena today are pollution control equipment suppliers. So they're basically providers of flares and other methods of neutralizing or mitigating these waste gases. But none of these technologies that are deployed today for pollution control do anything useful with these waste gases. They literally just, partially destroy the pollution. What we do is almost fully destroy the pollution, and we actually convert that pollution into something useful that can be sold profitably. So in that sense, we are alone. There's nobody out there doing anything like this.
Right. I take it you're getting a good reception here from the industry. Are you getting any good feedback from the government? Because this is definitely something that's a big agenda there.
It is a great agenda. We have had very positive reception from private sector as well as government. With the government, we had a 1 year. The government actually helped us. The U.S. government allowed us to run this for one entire year at one of the U.S. Army bases, and we were able to just prove its reliability, which is a big deal in the energy infrastructure sector. You have to have, it's great to have a technology that can change the world, as we say, but it needs to be reliable, and we needed that opportunity to prove that this is reliable, and we did that with the help of the Department of Defense opening their doors and letting us try this out on one of their landfills. Now, from private sector, yeah, the reception is tremendous. I mean, we're getting calls from industries that we hadn't even put on our list. I mean, today we're speaking to major distilleries. We're speaking to ethanol plants. We're speaking to not just wastewater treatment plants, but actual water supply companies, the actual companies that are supplying residential water to homes. They've got waste gases. So these are, industries that are hearing about us and calling us and say, if we could find a way to actually use this gas that we're currently just burning, and we could actually self-supply electricity from our waste gases, that'd be wonderful. Please tell us how you can work with us. So the reception is quite positive, as you said.
All right. Now, I'm looking through the list of industries that you work with: oil and gas, mining, waste, steel production, food, paper distilleries. All those are contained in plants, and you can get kind of an exhaust to go into the machinery I'm looking at on your website. By the way, just let's bring that out for everybody: ener-core.com. But the one that's kind of curious to me is landfills. I mean, that's a large area. How do you get waste gas off of a landfill?
So landfills today, most people would never need to know this, but landfills today are equipped with what I simplify as calling plumbing. There are pipes that run through our landfills to give gases a route or a route to get out of that landfill. As we fill our landfills with municipal waste, there's organic waste in there, mostly foodstuffs, that are deteriorating, and they give off gases. And if you don't provide some form of piping in that landfill, those gases build up and build up and build up, and literally combustible environments can be created. That can be very dangerous. So as a method for preventing these kinds of fires from happening, there's plumbing set up in the landfills, and that plumbing provides the gas that's being generated by deteriorating waste a way to get out. As it comes out, you can capture it and you can use it. Now, today, if you just Google, power generated from landfills, there's plenty of landfills that are generating power. But for every one landfill that has a good enough gas to generate power with traditional engines, there's probably another 3 out there, if not 4, that don't have a good enough quality gas to generate power with engines. And we can provide a solution for all those other 3 or 4 where the gas quality is simply not high enough to generate power.
If I may, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but we only have a few minutes left in this particular segment. I want you to bring out the breakthrough technology, because if this is breakthrough technology, you've got the solution. Tell our audience about the technology that makes this work.
So the technology is, simply put, an accelerated oxidation reaction. It takes a low-quality waste gas from a variety of industries and produces power profitably. As we've often said, if we really want our society to jump on board with sustainability and sustainable processes, the best way we can think of doing it is not with legislation. It is by making sustainability profitable. If we can approach oil and gas industries, coal mining industries, distilleries, and so on, and show them a way to make money off their waste, sustainability will just happen naturally. It's the capitalistic way. And that's what we're here to do with this breakthrough technology.
All right. For the investors that are out in the audience, at the low end for our audience are accredited investors looking for a 15-to-1 on their money, and the high end are institutional investors where some of their more smaller portfolios are, say, a $300 million hedge fund. For them, let's start getting into the business side of this. What are the 2013 milestones that or 2014, I should say, 13 milestones that you've accomplished? And then we'll, on the next segment, we'll get into the 2014 future and beyond.
Sure. So I'll start by saying our strategy it's rather relevant. It's almost as unique as the technology itself. Rather than trying to go out into the market with a new power generation piece of equipment, we're actually coupling this technology to existing turbines. So we're going to be working over time with some of the leading turbine manufacturers in the world, and we are enabling their turbines to get sold into very low quality gas applications where they simply can't sell turbines today. Put simply, we are opening up a $75 billion market for turbine makers, and we're letting them capitalize on this market opportunity as much as we will. So we're already working with Dresser-Rand. We're in discussions with virtually all the top-tier turbine makers, Siemens, Solar, GE, Alstom, and the list goes on. And we are deploying with these turbine companies. Our metrics are that this year we wanted to get our first commercial installation successfully deployed. That already happened in June, and the video recording of that event is publicly available through our website or on YouTube. We wanted to sell our first 3 to 6 units, and we're well on our way to doing that. And we wanted to sign a deal with one more first-tier turbine maker, and we're well on our way to doing that as well. Our metrics moving forward into 2015 will be to install the 4 to 6 additional units that we sell this year, because it does take 6 to 12 months to install these, and sign on another top-tier turbine company. Every single year, we intend to sign new deals with top-tier turbine companies and basically activate their sales forces and their commercial machine to literally pull us into new markets along with them.
Alan, let's take a break right now and continue on to that conversation about 2014 on the other side of these messages, all right?
Sure.
All right, we'll be right back with Alain Castro, CEO, Ener-Core, Ener-Core, ENCR is the symbol. Special thanks to Monk Media and 1-800-PublicRelations.com for all their PR and media support. We'll be right back.
From the North Texas Traffic Center in Grand Prairie, the westbound side of I-30 at MacArthur Boulevard, we have an accident blocking the right lane. Traffic there stop and go back from Loop 12 Walton Walker. If you see any other problems, call us on the traffic tip line. The number is 214-866-8888. I'm Shauna Nance with your KFXR traffic.
Donate your car to 1-800-CHARITY-CARS, America's leading charity dedicated to providing donated vehicles to struggling families. You'll be a hero and receive the maximum tax deduction you deserve. So call 1-800-CHARITY-CARS or visit online at 800charitycars.org.
An American Story with award-winning journalist and author Tom Brokaw.
I recently appeared with a man I so admire, General Stanley McChrystal, the former Special Forces commander in Iraq and Afghanistan. We both believe the idea of public service for the young has to be raised to a new level. General McChrystal believes that we need a year of mandatory civilian service and treat the volunteers with the same regard that we have for men and women in military uniform. My idea is to establish public service academies with private companies as partners so young people can serve and develop job skills simultaneously. This new generation is so smart and so disillusioned with the current state of politics, it needs new incentives to care about their country. We older folks owe it to them to help. I'm Tom Brokaw. This is An American Story.
Breitling Energy is a proud supporter of American Stories with Tom Brokaw. Breitling is committed to making the world a better place to live by providing safe and reliable energy for years to come. Breitling Energy Corporation, American oil from American soil. BreitlingEnergy.com.
Tired of being on the wrong side of the trade? Frustrated with the Wall Street fat cats making billions? Smart money is now flocking to those who have a proven edge. InTheMoneyStocks.com has a proven track record of profitability, and they're willing to reveal their winning strategies. For over a decade, peers have reviewed the proprietary strategies created by the pro traders and investors at InTheMoneyStocks.com. It has been confirmed as the best trading and investing strategy in the world. Now is your chance to learn the expert methodology in this exclusive Methodology Revealed webinar. You are well aware of the stock market collapse which occurred in 2007. The In the Money Stocks methodology located and alerted members of the impending collapse before it happened. Not only did members protect themselves during the collapse, they profited as well. Reserve your space for the next InTheMoneyStocks.com Methodology Revealed webinar by signing up under the education section at InTheMoneyStocks.com or email at support@InTheMoneyStocks.com. Your chance to obtain this powerful knowledge is now. Live the dream and profit for life.
Emmanuel Dalavai is a dynamic business coach, motivational, and public speaking professional. He has worked with numerous Fortune 100 firms and is a highly sought-after business resource. If you're looking for someone to MC your organization's special event, seeking a motivational speaker for a graduation ceremony, or just in need of inspired thought leadership, Emmanuel is your guy. Emmanuel is also the DFW Career Doctor, and if you're seeking employment change, he can provide individual and group consultation for resume writing, interviewing, and other career helps. Contact Emmanuel today by email, help@dfwcareerdoctor.com, or by calling 214-552-7932.
From the Mini Cooper Weather Center, this report is brought to you by Pat Loeb's Toyota of McKinney. Today, sunny and hot, high of 98. Tonight, fair skies, low of 78.
2014 Tundra Crew Max Special Edition with approved credit. Fast, fair, and minutes from anywhere. Pat Loeb, Toyota of McKinney.
Get $12,000 total savings on new 2014 Tundras.
You get it fast and fair at Pat Loeb, Toyota of McKinney.com.
Welcome back to the Traders Network. I'm Michael Yorba, your host, broadcasting to you live from the Dallas KFXR 1190 AM Clear Channel Studios and streaming to you globally through the iHeart Radio app as well as yorbamedia.com. I'm joined by Alain Castro, Chief Executive Officer, Ener-Core, ENER-CORE.com, symbol ENCR. All right, Alain, when we left off, we've got through the 2013 milestones, and you're able to talk about that you're leading the world in reducing emissions and reducing pollution for us through a variety of industry sectors. I'd like to start off with the 2014 and beyond look of what's going to happen next.
Sure. So let's just start by saying the previous 7 to 8 years has been spent basically quietly getting this technology to where it is ready for market. So a tremendous amount of capital that has been invested into this company over the last 7 to 8 years to get to where we are in 2014, where it is now reliable and deemed completely ready for a market deployment. 2014, our targets have been, and we are on target, have been to successfully install our first commercial unit. We've done that. We had a video which is now publicly available from our Netherlands deployment, which was deemed completed in June. And the other target for 2014 is to sell the first few units. We're literally at that inflection point where we are converting from being a product development and R&D company the last 7, 8 years to a commercially deployment company this year. This year, we sell the first few units. Next year, we intend to sell somewhere in the north of 10 units a year. Now, it's interesting to say we only actually need to sell about 7 to 8 of our 2 megawatt units to be cash flow break even. So based on the sales we will book in 2015, we will collect payments and book revenues 1 year later because we have a 1 year lag between when we book orders and when we actually, install and collect. We should be cash flow break even by 2016 based on our booked orders of 2015. I find it just marvelous how we are. It's rather quick within the bounds of our business model for us to get to profitability. We actually don't have to sell all that many of these. We need to hit revenues of somewhere in the $16 to $20 million for us to be a profitable company.
How much is a unit?
Well, we have different sizes. So the units we're deploying, the smallest unit goes for about $800,000. The next size up goes for $2 million. And those are the two we're focusing on now. Over the coming years, we'll be selling even larger units with larger turbine partners. But the two units we're commercializing now are an $800,000 a unit and a $2 million a unit. And when we just sell the first 7 of those $2 million units, which should happen fairly quickly according to our turbine partners, we will already be cash flow break even and well on our way to profitability.
Now, you mentioned that the first one in the Netherlands. I know that there's countries around the world. As China comes to mind because of all of the stuff we saw through the Olympics. And are there plans to go into other countries, and how's that proceeding?
Certainly, we are going for the countries that have the largest industrial base, that have decently high electricity prices, because the payback for our customers is directly driven by the electricity the price at which they can sell the electricity they're going to be, producing with their waste. So we're going for these larger markets. Some of the markets that come to mind are South Africa, China, Japan, Indonesia. The Caribbean region is attractive. West Coast United States, Northeast United States, basically New York, New Jersey, and all the New England area. These are places that have a lot of industrial activity and have decently high electricity prices. That's that the payback is just faster. Payback works in virtually every market we could go to. We just naturally are drifting towards those markets where the payback for our customers is going to be the fastest, because that makes their decision a heck of a lot easier.
Let's talk about that, the ROI to the customer, because if it's an $800,000 unit and you're selling the energy off of something that they've been wasting anyway,
sure,
how does that work?
Well, a typical ROI, and this now I'm speaking to as someone who's done a lot of his career financing power plants. Typical ROI or IRR on a power plant is somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 14% a year. So you usually don't even hit full recovery investment until around 8 to 10 years of operation. We're actually, in most of the cases we're working with customers, we're seeing ROIs of around 20%. So we're actually way above a typical power plant technology. Now, what makes it even more interesting is when they compare this to the alternative. The alternative is to flare a gas, which is a negative IRR project. They're literally going to buy a flare and burn gas, and they will never see a cent from the gas they're burning. So we're comparing a 20% IRR project to a negative IRR project. And that makes the sales process all the more easy.
I can see that. The internals of your company, without getting into any problems, because I don't want to hear anything that we're not supposed to hear.
Certainly.
But tell our investors about where the internals, the growth rate. What do you think your market penetration is going to be over the next year or two and beyond?
Well, what we're seeing is we've got a $75 billion market to go after.
Right.
We are just coming out of the gate. We're just at that inflection point. Ener-Core is converting from an R&D style company to a commercial deployment style company. In the year to come, we will see revenues of somewhere in the first year of around $8 to $15 million. Then in 2016, we'll see that ramp up to around 25 to 35 million. And then in that third year out, that's when we believe we'll see that hockey stick effect and literally just takes off to, neighborhood of 100 million or above. How much of the $75 billion marketplace we'll tap into and how long that'll take, it's a very abstract thought. It's very difficult to predict, but we think it's fairly reasonable to believe that we could, over time, and time being 5 to 7 years, if not less, we should be able to tap into at least 3 to 5% of that full marketplace. And I'll let your listeners do the math. That's a fairly sizable market penetration.
It is. Why the big jump from year 2 to year 3 on the revenue?
Because ultimately, and I'm part of the industry, the power industry, much like, say, the pharma industry, by nature must be a risk-averse place. In the pharma industry, it's understandable. You don't want to put out pharmaceutical products that are not ready for consumption. In the power industry, you don't want to put out huge loads of new power technology that might have any issue in operation and cause power grids to come down. So the risks are high, and as a result, the culture of the industry ends up being one of risk aversion. So what we're seeing is big players stepping up, very excited about this, wanting to deploy it. We're going to see over the next second year of trading, which is this year and next year, numbers that are 5, 10, 15 units, maybe even 25, 30 units. But the likelihood of it jumping up to hundreds of units, which will come, is not going to be high in the first 1 or 2 years, not until you get over that hump where there's an inertial effect, where the industry says, yes, this is reliable, this will operate reliably every single day of the year and put out power.
Alan,
that's what we need to get to.
I've got to stop it right there. We're out of time, but thank you so much for being a guest on our show.
On behalf of Ener-Core, I want to thank you as well.
My pleasure. All right, Alain Castro, Chief Executive Officer, Ener-Core, ENCR is the stock symbol, ENER-CORD.com. Special thanks to Monk Media and 1-800-PublicRelations.com for all their PR and media support.